The preview you are about to watch is for a movie that is unlike any you have ever seen before. It is for a movie that goes beyond temporary fear to everlasting terror. It is a movie called Demons. Yes, the demons are coming, and they're coming for you. Warning, if you have the courage to see demons, sit near an exit. Otherwise, you might never get out. In your theater, who will survive the touch of the demons, and who will not? Demons.
What's up, rotters, and welcome back to Brainrot, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the best and worst horror films of the 80s and 90s. I'm Stevie, your VHS veteran. I realised I forgot to say that last week, so I'll say it again. I'm Stevie, your VHS veteran. There we go, now we're back on track. So today, I am so excited to be discussing one of my favourite 80s Trashterpieces of all time, Lamberto Bava's 1985 monster mayhem movie, DEMONI/Demons. And joining me are one of my favourite group of guests to have on the show, Epic Film Guys, Justin, Jeremy, and Brady/B Ratty. Their podcast, Brain Stew, is one of my go-to top podcasts, and if you're not already subscribed, get on it now, seriously. They were last on the pod discussing Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it felt only right to give them yet another cult classic. By the way, our funky fucking awesome Mike Lee Graham retro VHS Brain Rot t-shirts, wow, that was a mouthful, are still on sale at just £14 until Sunday, and we offer cheap worldwide shipping, so go grab one before it's too late at steviesbrainrot.com. Patreon-wise, Becky Dark recently joined me to discuss the brand new Children of the Corn movie, yes, the 12th movie in this continuing and seemingly never-ending franchise, and coverage of the entire dozen of those films is now available on Patreon. Hopefully that's the last one in my lifetime. Jesus. And this week on the Cellar Dweller tier, I sat down to chat with Pinhead himself, Doug Bradley, and the director of his new movie Thorns, Douglas Schultz. We discussed their new collaboration, and I, of course, posed the question of who would win in a Jason vs. Freddy vs. Pinhead deathmatch. Answers within. So to hear these and an almost endless back catalogue of episodes, just head to steviesbrainrot.com. Now then, grab your ticket to the Metropole, and let's see what's cooking. Epic Film Guys, you're back! Hello! Woo! Woo!
We're back.
Yeah, I love this because there's so many of you. I mean, it's a fucker to edit, but it's really nice, the actual talk. And I suppose, let's introduce yourself. Let's go around the room. I want your name, age, where you're from, and your safe word. So I will start. I am Stevie. I'm 38. I'm from a place near Liverpool called the Wirral, and my safe word is Belial.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who's next?
Oh,
someone jump
God. In. I'm Justin. I live in Winchester, Virginia, which is the scorched earth. Not from there. I am 30. And
You're a fucking liar.
Fuck off. We've just talked about this.
Yeah, but you could. Never mind.
Nah.
I'm 39, and my safe word is this town needs an enema. That's too long. But it's still
No, I like it.
word.
I think
I
you're not
like
going to be
it.
safe by the time you're done with that.
Well, I thought we were gonna start by height, which I would have been the first one to go, but since we're not doing that,
Yeah.
I feel a little bit taller. But my name is Jeremy Moorhead, and I live in Woodbridge, Virginia, which is about 35 minutes from Washington D.C. So when people hear Virginia, they think cows.
Right.
So I'm not near any cows currently, but my my safe word is Radu.
Mm.
Oh, nice. Come on, subspecies.
Yeah.
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 I like it. Nice.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And
that's
B
me.
Ratty.
I'm B Ratty or Brady, and I live in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I'm the baby of the group. I'm 28 years old. Almost hitting 30. It's getting fucking rough out here. I've picked out a lot of gray hairs.
Listen,
He
you're
loves Ice
fine.
Nine Kills. Ice Nine Kills is his favorite band. I'm just telling you right now, Ice Nine Kills. He's wearing the shirt. It's his favorite
And
band.
my safe word.
He's only 29. He can make mistakes like that, though.
My safe word. I don't know. There's so many of them. I'd
Oh.
probably have to go with Beelzebub. Yeah.
All right.
Did I say how old
No,
I was?
you conveniently
Did
skipped
I
that
avoid
one.
that
Yeah.
one? Yeah. I'm 38.
You're the one with the gray beard, man. I'm not
Yeah, you
even there
Fred
yet, and I'm
Durst
older.
looking motherfucker.
I just have a little bit of pepper.
It's hereditary, bitch. Ari Aster.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 38 as well, and
Oh, we could
it's-
tell. We could
we
tell.
we all look. How dare you? And I know that's a lie because Justin just said he thinks.
Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this, but Justin is a pathological liar.
See?
So
Okay, and you're a
That is
child.
factually incorrect. Factually incorrect here.
there he goes again.
Brady, the lie detector test determined that
We'll
was
be
a
back.
lie.
Big fat one. Guys, we're back and we're talking. We're going to be talking Italian horror. We're doing, I think, like the pinnacle of Italian horror and practical effects and all that shit with Demoni or Demons from 1985, Lamberto Bava. So personally, I just mentioned this. I think this is a 5-star film. It's just everything that I love in a film because there's no plot. It's just a situation for an hour and a half, and I love that about it. And also, I think for Bava, even though I think A Blade in the Dark was what really set him apart from being either an assistant director or, the son of, I think that put him on the map. But I think this is just his pivotal work. What about you guys? I'll come to you first. Be ready.
God damn it. Yeah, I got to this movie pretty late in life. But for me, you kind of hit it on the head. There's no plot. It's just kind of nonsensical fantasy fun. And it's, this weird take on, I personally think, like a zombie movie, but they're demons, and it's so much fun. But to me, there was always this level of, well, like, this isn't unreasonable. Like, it's plausible in some ways. Like, I could see this going down in a movie theater, and this is like how things go down in that scenario. So I loved it. I always loved it since I saw it, and when it came up to be back on the podcast with you and talking about it, just had to jump on it.
Amazing. What about you, Justin? What's your history with this one?
Much like Brady, I came to it a little bit later in life. I wasn't, teenager or anything like that. Where I lived, it wasn't that easy to find the Italian stuff. I believe I was in my 20s, and a roommate or something mentioned it to me. But since then, I've actually screened it at Alamo Draft House twice, and both times it fucking destroyed and slayed that audience. And ever since then, I would definitely consider this one of my favorite horror films of all time, hands down. I mean, it's just such a crowd pleaser. I can throw it in depending, it doesn't even matter what my mood is or what's going on in life, and I'll throw it in, and it's just so enjoyable to look at, to hear. I mean, I'm a huge heavy metal fan. We were talking pre-show a little bit. Jeremy played in metal bands. I played in metal bands, and just that, the metal feel and vibe to everything, and how brutal it is, and so colorful and vibrant, and just beautiful to look at. And much like you said, Stevie, there's no plot to this fucking thing. It's just balls to the wall insanity and so much fun to watch. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's probably why it is just for people like us. It's pure joy because you don't have to bother with narrative or any arc of any character. You can just jump straight in, and the movie jumps fucking straight in. And what about you? What about you, Jeremy? What's your history with this one?
So I got super into Italian horror films about 15 years ago, and this was the one that really kicked it off for me. That it was love at first watch. Instantly, it was a movie that I kept telling all my friends that casually loved horror. I'm like, you have to watch this. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Right.
Wow. I
Whoa.
unapologetic. It's been in my top 5 for so many years now. I unapologetically love this movie. It has so many things that I love. I love a good horror film where people are stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And they're trying to find a way out. There's just something about that scenario that I'm like, I'm in it. Like even movies like Castaway and things like that, where it's these people that are trapped somewhere and it seems like an impossible feat to get out. M. Night Shyamalan came out with that movie Old last year. Trapped in a location trying to get out. I don't. There's just something about that setting that I love, and this film has that, and it's so big. Like the scope of this movie, even though it all takes place in a theater, is so huge. There's a fucking helicopter in the finale, and the finale of this movie. I'm like, it's insane. It arguably has the greatest practical special effects of any horror film ever made. This goes head to head with Rob Bottin and John Carpenter's The Thing
here we
in my
go.
book. Sergio Stivoletti's I know I got to bring in The Thing and everything we talk about, but
he has
Bingo.
to.
it goes head to head with just practical effects wizardry that it's just unbelievable to watch, and it's like they did this in real time on camera. Like that's insane, and you can tell how much I love this movie. I'm going to keep going.
Great.
Dario Argento is a producer and a writer on this film, and of course he is because there's a blind person in the plot. I feel like that's one of Argento's like that's his shit. He's like, all right, okay. So there's going to be a blind person because that shit is scary, So
And someone's like, Dario, but it's set in a cinema, and he's like, no, it's okay, it's funny.
I can't wait to talk about that more. I've met Lamberto Bava. I've met Argento. I've met Bobby Rhodes. I've met Garetta. Which like I was telling the guys earlier today, it's been like 13 years I think since I met them, and I'm still like, it's one of those scenarios where I'm like, I can't believe that happened. Like that I got to meet these people. So yes, I love this movie. Thanks for listening.
And it's thanks for the TED talk. No, I'm really here for it. No,
that's it. That's it.
It's that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week, Rotters. The thing about the effect in this one is they take their time. So if someone's gonna grow fucking fangs and their teeth are gonna come out, we're gonna watch it, as you said, Jeremy, in real time, and it takes its time. It's no fast cuts. It's whether it's the fingernails or the scalping someone. It's there, and we watch the entire thing from start to finish, and there's no cuts to it. And I think that just is such movie magic, and that's the sort of shit that, as a kid, it would always be too quick. But in this, it does not pull its punches, and it's just it's fucking amazing. And everything's neon as well. Even the shit that comes out of their mouth is bright green, so green that you're like, that they all had ulcers on the inside of their mouth. Whatever that was not okay. And it's just one huge thing. And I love that thing you said about people being trapped as well. I mean, it's just a great scenario. And you can really see how From Dusk Till Dawn is very similar structurally to this.
Absolutely.
And it's just the same, but with vampires.
Dawn
What
of
do you
the
think
Dead,
about
another one.
Yes, yeah, exactly. What about you, Brady, with the effects? So wait, you came to this a bit late, did you think?
Yeah,
Did you say?
well, I came to horror pretty late, but I think I saw Demons for the first time
I
3
remember
years
that.
ago.
Right.
Brady, wasn't it last year when you joined the show? You're like, I've never seen any
Yeah.
movie ever released, and we had to like school you. And
Yeah,
start
I was
showing
like,
you
look, I've
movies.
seen Scooby-Doo, and
If
that's
I remember
about fucking
correctly.
it. And that's even too scary sometimes.
Well, we know we know your history that you were not allowed to watch a lot of movies growing up, so it's not particularly your
Yeah,
fault
well,
or
I
anything
remember
like
you
that.
saying
Really
that,
appreciate
yeah.
you putting that out there again. It wasn't my fault.
Well, you're the Wes Craven. You're the Wes Craven of the show. We always say that because Wes Craven grew up and he wasn't allowed to watch anything but Disney.
Well,
movies.
except I'm alive. Anyways,
Oh,
but,
Wow.
my God.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Hey,
sorry.
hey, Wes didn't do anything wrong. Why is he getting the fucking
No.
stick
In
now?
Wes we trust.
because he can't defend himself.
Yeah, right.
So special effects wise, yeah, I mean, like it's just insane. Like even rewatching it today, I was like, how far we've gotten away from great practical effects in horror. And don't get me wrong, like CGI has really good uses, like modern technology is great, but man, just watching this movie was like, you could just see like how much time they put into making these transformations so grotesque, so over the top, but so impactful to make you squirm and make you sit there and being like, that's fucking gross. And I love it. I would love to see a return to that in movies nowadays, but we just won't get that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because he this kind of grotesqueness and it's monsters. It's interesting because he was a protege of Argento, whereas Argento's stuff was never this kind of monster, grotesque 80s. It's given me Ghoulies, it's given me, as you say, Botine and all that. And so it feels really interesting that he's gone to this place having been taught by someone who's much more sort of restrained or black gloves, wouldn't you say? Anyone?
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. You may know the answer to this. I was always told that they were heavily inspired by Evil Dead.
I don't know that offhand, but that would absolutely make sense on this one for sure. What I was gonna say is one of the things that I love about the transformation scenes is the sound design that goes along with them. I mean, you've got the with the close-up shots of the human teeth being pushed out by the demon teeth. Like, the sound design is what makes it even more disgusting, which I love.
Yeah. And every single person, it's interesting, isn't it? Because technically, well, I this is the point in the show where I'd normally get someone to give a synopsis, but I mean, we've just said it. It's people stuck in a movie theater. Mysteriously, they've taken these golden tickets to the Metropole to go and see this movie, and then they're walled in, and there's a viral demon outbreak. And I love that viral element of it as well.
You basically just described the IMDb description, and did it way better. So bravo.
But we have... first of all, I mean, I'm always so jealous of 80s subways, but in films, because I'm sure they're never like that, because they're just always, it's like only punks ever ride the subway in the 80s films. I
was just sitting there complimenting all of the hairstyles to my wife when we were watching it last night, and she's not a gross out horror type of person, but she fucking loves demons. She'll sit there and she never covers her eyes, to your point about the special effects. Usually with those kinds of grotesque, gross out effects, she would cover her eyes a little bit. And like you said, they go on for so long and she just sits there and she just endures it all because she loves the artistry behind it. But when I watch this movie, I'm like, fuck, I want that dude's jacket. I love that chick's hair color. I love, this style here. I wish I could get that design in the back of my head. Like because I went to Italy. I know they shot most of this in Berlin. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right.
But when I was there in Italy, I was like, man, there's no punkers here. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see, what I've seen in a lot of the Italian horror movies. It just wasn't.
Justin got on the subway and was like, "This is not what I was told it would be."
Listen, on the trains,
just people
the buses,
in like suits.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I mean, just the way the film starts out, and you just get immediately invested, and I think there's some nostalgia that goes along with that, even though the majority of people that are watching this have never been to that location. It's a foreign made film, but it just immediately connects with you on that way.
Yeah, which is really interesting, isn't it? Because you immediately go, oh, I know this. I know this vibe. But it's basically this sort of New York that we grew up watching. It's movie New York, but it's just not. And I love that. But so Cheryl, it's interesting because is she our protagonist? Is she our main character? She's definitely not a final girl because we almost spend, after the initial intro and watching her get there, we spend almost an equal amount of time with every other character or group of characters within, and that's another thing that I absolutely love because you can latch onto your favorites and everyone has different favorites. I mean, I think Greta comes out on top on most people's lists because what a fucking performance. But Jeremy, what do you think of this setup then of the mysterious invitations, the guy with the half mask, which is sort of melded into a skill? It's
Man in Black,
yeah, or Jason Goes to Hell, when his skin's sort of growing over the mask. And it's great because it's actually
or like Phantom of the Opera.
Or Phantom of the Opera, yeah. And it's this very slow actual build-up until everything kicks off later on. And I think it's really well-paced, would you say?
Yeah, I love the setup. I love all the time that it takes introducing these characters. You've got the young couple, the lovebirds that are making out in the back. You've got the the strange, redheaded chick that looks like she's wearing like a Santa's helper outfit.
Dude, what the fuck is that? Is she
What
wearing
the
elf outfit?
fuck is
Seriously.
that? Every time I watch it, I'm like, God, like, that she probably, when she rewatches it, is like, oh my fucking God, they made me wear that. So you get
she's
the
also
redheaded
the
chick
cl-
that works
Yeah.
in the theater, and it's like, okay, like, is she behind
She's an usher.
this?
Remember when there
Yeah.
were ushers in the theater?
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, is she behind this? She kind of seems like there may be something more sinister at play with her.
And
here.
that's an Italian thing. You always have to have the sort of nefarious appearing woman who you think, oh, she's evil to the fucking core, and then it turns out she's not, and there was just no point in her being such a
Oh yeah,
cunt.
the red herring, which in this point is very suited because she has red hair. You've got the blind guy with that's his niece, right? That's his
Yeah, I wasn't
Which
sure
I'm like,
for a while.
I'm like, dude, that seems like super sexual. Like she's like cheating on her blind husband that she's with for money. And it's like, oh no, that's her uncle, I guess. Super
Which is
fucking
worse to me because he says at one point, oh, my baby girl is dead. And when I thought it was the wife, I was like, oh, fucking hell, she's doing that right next to him. Oh no, it's okay, it's his daughter. Wait, that is worse. She's getting fingers down there next to her father. What are you talking about? That's way worse.
You get them. You obviously you get Cheryl and you get Kathy. That Cheryl talks Kathy into going, and she's like, Kathy's like, fuck, it's a horror film. You've got the other two dudes that they're there just trying to meet chicks, so they're like, oh, we'll go sit down next to them. But one thing I have to say immediately is that Natasha Hovey, Cheryl, is one of the most traditionally beautiful women I have ever seen in any movie. Like, I love her, man. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, holy shit, she's perfect. And the way that they have her dressed and her portrayal of the character, it's spot on because she immediately becomes a character that you want to take care of and you don't want any harm to be done to her, which is fantastic.
It's Sandra Dee.
There's some deep innocence to that character immediately. You can just tell by her portrayal of the character, the way that it's written. She's naive, she's innocent. When she's scared in the beginning that this guy's following her around, you feel for her immediately.
Absolutely.
And then when she feels this joy when she finds out, oh, he just wanted to give me like a flyer to this screening of this movie. Like, you're like, there's this relief because you don't want to see, like, there's this kind of childlike thing about her. You're like, you don't want to see her get harmed at all.
Yeah. And then the last, characters that I'll call out initially is the older couple. And I love the dude because he's telling everybody to shut the fuck up during the movie because he's trying to watch. He's like, shut up. Like, which immediately reminded me of my buddy Chris Keeney that I go and see a lot of movies with because, like, Chris is a really big dude and, like, he's quick to be like, shut the fuck up. And people turn around and they look at him, they're like, oh, he's a big dude, I'm gonna shut up. So,
you need that guy. You need that guy in the theater, definitely.
Absolutely.
I quite like that. Obviously, no one knows what this film is, and there's a good turnout, and because some weird guy just approached them in the street, and I love that none of these people had plans for their afternoon because they all go, okay, I'll do that, and some of them are in suits, and so people have just bunked off work, off school. I think it's wonderful that they all decided to take a chance on this, and if only they knew. So then we have Goretta and her pimp. Are they ladies of the night? What's the situation there, does everyone think?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's credited as Tony the Pimp.
She's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Do you know that there's actually a short film from 2011 about Tony the Pimp?
What? No.
I had
no shit.
idea.
There's a short film, and it's the IMDb synopsis is: the famous character from the Demon Saga comes back after 25 years of silence, and he's recruiting new girls for his business when he stumbles on various dodgy characters and also a long lost twin brother.
Wait a minute.
Sorry,
how is
what?
this a thing, though? How? Because he turns into a demon and he's killed?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking at IMDb right now. It's got a 6.6 out of 10.
Is it a prequel?
Wow.
No, I don't know.
He looks the same. He looks the same. It could be. And I don't want to make you guys jealous, but he wishes me a happy birthday every year on Facebook. And
Stop it.
I swear, every year I get Happy birthday, Jeremy. Bobby Rhodes, Tony the Pimp. And I'm like, it brings me
Jeremy,
joy every
does he
year.
tell people? Does he tell people he's a friend of mine?
Hey, watch out! He's a friend of mine.
Everything is on that level. That's what I love. Every single line. It's all on the same cadence and
I love it.
level and volume. It's fantastic. Talk to me, Justin, about, I mean, it's not that important, but if you're being pedantic, what are the rules with this setup and how the demons get... Are they counting on someone putting on that mask and cutting themselves? Because if no one did, would they just watch the movie?
That's a very interesting question to ask. And that all falls on Rosemary. I feel like that character is the lead-in because she's not that intelligent when she does it. But at the same time, though, like when you're standing around in the lobby and you see cool props standing there, I feel like there's always going to be that person that wants to touch something.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that mask, I mean, just thinking about the imagery of that mask is so iconic. And I just love that design so much. But standing around there and just like fooling around, like I wouldn't necessarily see someone of her age doing it, but like especially teenagers, like, oh, look at this. It's just sitting there so you can touch it. So yes, that would be a plot device in my opinion in order to have the shit happen. But I love that, you know, when they're sitting down to watch the movie, they get that plot point,
The meta
delivered to them, and we're like, oh shit. So they know it, like, we're being told as an audience the same way the characters are being told, oh, okay, so if you put the mask on, you get scratched or cut. That's how it happens.
Yes.
I'd also argue it kind of goes hand in hand with what you said earlier, Stevie. Like, all these people just dropped whatever they were doing to go watch this random movie. So, like, they had to be banking on, if you're showing up to this movie, you probably really are careless, or you really don't give a fuck what you're going to do. So, yeah, somebody's going to grab the mask. Somebody's going to cut themselves. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I thought.
And wasn't Jeremy, you probably know this, something about the movie within a movie?
Oh,
originally...
he got it. He got it. I see it. Oh, there it is.
You got it, of course. You've got it.
Ah.
Uh-oh.
Did you cut yourself,
I
Jeremy?
just cut myself. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Well, don't touch things.
Well, we've got about 20 minutes till it pops, so...
So disgustingly.
Oozing.
Yeah, the fucking boil pop. Oh, it's just fantastic. But Jeremy, the movie within a movie, you probably know this, wasn't it? Didn't they originally plan to use a Fulci film so they didn't have to film other stuff and they could save budget?
Yeah, I think I've definitely read that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I'm actually glad, because it adds a whole new level to it, the fact that it's playing out on screen and this meta level. And also, I want to watch that movie, whatever it is. I'd definitely take that Metropole invite.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You also got to love the Argento poster hanging up in the movie theater
Four
as well.
Flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Metropolis. Yeah, It's nice little touches. So this is when it starts to kick off, because obviously Goretta goes to the bathroom. And again, it's not quick. It's all gradual, this whole section. And I just think it's so well paced. And from here on out, every, I'd say, 10, 15 minutes, we get an iconic gifable shot, whether it's her turning around in the cubicle, the red light on her when she's coming down the hallway, the demons coming up the stairs with the reflective pieces on their eyes. It's just scene after scene, there's an iconic shot, and it's unlike anything else, wouldn't you say?
Bava shot the shit out of this thing, man. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just his choices from the lighting to the camera placement. Like when Rosemary's in full demon mode, and she's on the pursuit, and the camera's like all up in her face, and it's kind of following. It's so sinister looking and terrifying.
It actually is, isn't it?
Yeah, and you mentioned the reflective eyes, you know, that's on a lot of the movie posters, man. It's such an iconic scene, and every single time that I watch it, I'm just like, it's so perfect. Like,
It gets you.
that fucking thing is so perfect.
And they were like, what, refractive paper, which caused that effect or something when they were doing tests, and Bava loved that so much that they used it a bunch in the movie.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
because it just looks like they're absolutely glowing from inside. It's genius. It's absolutely genius. And the who is it? Because well, she's off. She's killing everyone she can now, and I love the red contact lenses. That's brilliant. But we get the fantastic scene, very sort of Scream 2, with, is it Liz who's behind the cinema screen because she's been scratched,
Yes.
and then she ends up falling.
That's
through
correct.
it.
Yes.
It's brilliant because her transformation, I think, is pure 10 out of 10, no notes, movie magic.
And they all stand there to watch it.
Yeah,
Like, they're the audience member. Like,
The
look at those
tongue.
fingernails. And they're just like, I'm just going to stand here for a fucking hour while this chick transforms, man. This is better than the fucking movie I was just watching.
But it's just...
I feel like
hang-
I would do the same thing though. I'd be like, man, what the hell is going on?
Well,
And
I
I'd be
think
the
maybe
first
it's a
one to
sort
get
of
killed.
William Castle thing going on because the whole thing's mysterious anyway, isn't it? You're like, okay, this is all part of the fucking gimmick.
Is this
I
part of
get
the
it.
show? Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, in today's day and age, everyone will be standing around her with fucking cell phones, like videoing that
Yeah.
shit, like seconds before they all got their throats slit and turned into demons.
I love that we never actually find out why and what the fuck is going on because they're sealed in. We never find out who the guy is with the mask, and it doesn't answer any questions, and I love that.
That's very standard for Italian horror films, man. Like, I mean, if you watch Argento movies, there's more questions than there's answers typically.
Always, and Fulci.
And all of them, and it's just like, okay, well, this is like a fever dream, and you just have to go along for the ride and accept things for how they are and know that you're not going to know everything. And honestly, I wish that was something that was done more frequently in the horror genre today. That's the reason why I loved the recent movie Talk to Me, is because everything just was what it was because that's what it was, and there was no background story to over explain everything. So like, I love that, and I'm more into movies like that than like, oh, let's explain how this came to be and where these demons came from and who that guy is. I don't need to know who that guy is. I'm glad we don't know.
I totally agree.
That's scarier.
Because, like, in Talk to Me, yeah, they even make a comment about, something about, apparently it used to be a clairvoyant's hand, as someone says, oh, no, I heard it was this, and it's great, because we don't have
Never
any
answered.
answers, but it's
Yeah.
all
Adds
speculation.
that mystery around it, which makes it more scary.
100%, yeah. And it's just now, it's just chaos. Once they realise they're boarded in, it's complete chaos. People are getting scalped. It's effect after effect, kill after kill. And then, very strange... Talk to me about our group of youngsters that we cut to in the car and the whole Coke thing.
Oh my
What's
God.
great about it, though, is we know for sure, as an audience member, there's no way they're not going to end up at the cinema because why are we being seen them? But what's great now is we're a step ahead of them. So all the people that are there already know about this, and now we have some new characters, and we have the knowledge of what's going on. So we see the whole film again from a different point of view, which I think is a really clever device because now we're the ones with the knowledge. But this whole, I could have done without it. I still think it's a 5-star film. The Coke on the breast, the nipple, all this. I mean, the Coke
God,
in the can.
seriously.
How
Just
old is
talk to
she?
me. What's
How
going
old is
on?
she? She looks like she's fucking 15. Like,
Well, that would be accurate. That would be accurate, Jeremy. It seems like, bunch of kids out, maybe she's hanging out with some older dudes. That's what I read from it. But fuck me, man. I'm telling you right now, watching that scene, god damn did I want some white shit stuffed up my fucking nose. I don't care. You can edit this shit out. I'm just saying.
But
I'm
no,
like,
it also...
God,
We've all had our hedonistic days, but my reaction was, oh, that's a terrible idea in that Coke can because the top of the straw is going to get like wet and then it's going to congeal and then it's going to drip down and the whole thing's going to be ruined. And so I was just pissed off.
they're
at
clearly
their
not
method.
professionals here. That's not how you. That's
Who
not
does
how
that?
do
You
cocaine,
you
okay?
really thought this through.
Yeah,
who
it
does
just
that? They're
pissed
like,
me
let's
off.
put cocaine in a Coke can and then
I
have a
get it.
straw.
Funny.
Like, dude.
Also, let's real quick. Let's just stop for a second and realize that we're talking about demons, and the plot hole that we're talking about the most angrily is that they snorted cocaine through a straw out of a full can
Brady,
of
listen, if you're going to have
just wanna be
characters
clear.
doing cocaine, you have to have them doing it right.
Properly.
I'm supposed to be believing in these characters that they actually know how to fucking do cocaine. Otherwise, how am I supposed to believe in that?
The rest of the movie just falls apart.
I'm like they're snorting cocaine out of a Coke can, and this chick's about to have an orgasm from having a razor blade on her titty nipple, and like, what is happening?
It's a lot. It's a lot, and it feels like I feel like Argento made this happen. I don't know why. I just feel like he's like, oh no, you have
For
to,
sure.
you have to have the breast, because we haven't had it yet.
Dude.
Well, also, to be fair, to be completely honest, I think it also lets you take a breather from what's going on inside the theater. You know what I mean? For a minute, like remove yourself from it, give you a breather or two here and there. And then it adds more of a body count in the end. You know what I mean? Like when they get in, then it adds more suspense and scary moments for them when they actually get in there.
I think it just eats up some time too.
It does. It pads the runtime. What's the quote that when one of the dudes gets mad at the other dude and he's like, "Oh, talk to me, Rambo," or some shit like that.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, you're going Rambo now."
Yeah.
Yeah, but he says it in a really camp way, and that guy is also doing his best Sylvester Stallone. Like it's ridiculous.
Also, he has the top of a can hanging from his earring.
Yeah.
The ring pull. Yeah, I fucking love that shit. I'm bringing that shit back.
Oh my god, 100%.
Yeah, why did I see
was
that
like,
and say Justin would wear that?
and I looked at it and I was like, I need that. I want to bring that back. I want the bottle tops as badges, and I want safety pins. Like that era needs to come back once we're done with this stupid fucking 90s resurgence. So yeah, we'll go back to that. Thank you. This and they're all barricading. They're all barricading and everything. They're all on the top deck. It's great. There's a brilliant line. I don't know why he's helping, but the floppy head of the two dudes that are just there to find chicks. He's helping barricade, and the other guy says, "Do you think this will will stop them?" And he says, "I don't, but don't tell the others." And then carries on. It's like, why just keep that to yourself?
I thought you were talking to Jeremy for a second. I was like, I think he's all right.
Radu. That's my safe word.
Radu, there you go. Of course, yeah. But the razor on the tit just felt like wildly abusive behavior. But she seems to get off on it, so that's fine.
She was into it, man.
Yeah. I mean,
She was until she wasn't.
It was consensual for 80% of the time, and that's a yes. But when they break through the wall, I think this is kind of terrifying, where they get into the sort of back rooms, and it's even worse. There's just no escape, and there's a lot of screaming going on. But our new lots. Now, when the police arrive, because obviously our new group of teens, they go into again, if only they knew, and the police arrive. Is this when it's meant to spill out into the world? Because obviously we see later on that it's all taken over, because the blind guy gets out and he gets the police guy. And I suppose this experiment, or whatever it is, it feels like they want it to be contained, and it doesn't. It feels like that was a mistake that it gets out. What are your views on that, anyone? Or am I reading?
Yeah, because I mean, well, otherwise, I mean, why would they have done it within like such a concealed location?
Right.
And why would they have boarded them all? I mean, number one, it must have taken a lot of fucking time to like cement them into this building. I mean, we see them obviously going into this building, the Metropole, and then someone blocks them in.
Quick as well.
Yeah, very quick. Which, to your point, leads me to believe that they did want some kind of containment for this, but what is the purpose? That is the question. And in a movie like this, much like Jeremy just said, it's better to just go with it and stop asking those types of questions. But yes, I believe it was a mistake in this instance where they open the door, Demon comes out and kills the cops. And by the end of the movie, I'm getting ahead of myself here, we know the damage is done and how quickly this spreads to the public. And by the end of the movie, the whole fucking city is under fire with demons.
Yeah.
To me, the way that I've always looked at it is almost like the Metropole is alive in itself, because when our car cocaine sniffing hooligans get to it, the door is locked, and then mysteriously the door opens on its own. And I've kind of always, again, that's what I love about Italian horror, is we don't know, and you kind of just fill in the blanks with your imagination. For me, it kind of feels like the Metropole is alive. Like the Metropole, the location, and the movie are all one. And that's how I've always kind of looked at it, and I kind of dig that. You know, the purpose of what it was supposed to be or what that is, I've never really questioned that, other than like I feel like the movie and
Clearly,
the theater
Jeremy's
are...
been watching a lot of elevated horror.
Damn you, Brady! How many times do I have to tell you there's no such thing?
Yes, do not say that on my podcast. Those two words.
There's something about a movie coming alive, like a movie within a movie coming alive, that I super dig. You know, that's like the Masters of Horror episode that John Carpenter directed, Cigarette Burns, where the film Le Fin Absolute Demon comes to life, and it impacts anyone that watches it. Just like there's a movie that came out in like 2010 or 11 called Midnight Movie, which Stevie, if you have not seen it,
I don't think I have.
I have it sitting over on my shelf.
I don't have any of you guys seen Midnight Movie? Okay, I love it. I feel like we get a really great slasher killer who's really cool looking, and it's basically people that attend a screening of this movie. The movie starts coming to life within the theater, and they're trapped in the theater.
On that note, Jeremy, I just had to bring this up. This is like one of the coolest premises for a horror movie ever. Just thinking about it, like an audience unknowingly being invited to watch a horror movie, and while they're watching a horror movie and being terrified, real life horror actually comes upon them, and just shit hits the fucking fan. I just love this premise. I love the location. I just love how everything looks and feels and sounds. I mean, again, there's nothing like this being made now. And of course, if you made this movie now, you'd be ripping off this movie or homaging it or whatever you want to call it. But at the time, we hadn't seen anything done like this, where it's like a horror movie within a horror movie. And, you know, the theater environment and how that would make an audience within a theater watching it react to it. I just think it's really interesting, you know. And I know this was supposed to be originally a 3-parter.
It is, yeah,
and it never ended up happening.
That's right.
Bava is still alive. Argento is still alive. Give us a years later sequel.
There's a film called The Ogre that Bava directed. I think it was released in some places as Demons 3. I think that was more to just get people right. But then I remember a couple of years ago at Fright Fest, I can't remember who it was that was presenting a film, and they said, they mentioned that Demons 3 is on its way and Goretta is producing it. And then I've never heard anything since. And so I mean, I don't know what that was, but it hasn't, you know, I thought the internet would be alight about it, but apparently it hasn't. But, I mean, come on, we need it.
Bummer. Yeah, I definitely need that.
I do have questions, guys, about Kathy's transformation. One, it is the only point in the film that I actually do find a modicum of emotion. Like, it is slightly emotional, because you can see her sort of battling it, and she's half in, half out, saying, "Who are you?" And then she turns, obviously. But the creature, the sort of king goblin demon that comes out of her back, which is obviously the creature that the mask is based on, because it's got the same face. And it's a bit like Ghoulies 4, the masks in that. And I feel like
I almost gave a fist pump because I thought you said Ghoulies 3 initially. I was like, and then I was like, you said 4.
College.
Yeah.
No, I love 3. No, but 4 is a whole other thing. It feels like this is meant to be the big bad, but it also feels like they realized it looks pretty shit compared to the humans who are infected. Right. They are terrifying. This thing that comes out looks Fraggle Rock. It looks comical, and I feel like that they sort of back off from, you know, the final showdown, which I imagine would normally be with this king of demons, but you see it once more maybe, and we never see it again.
How amazing would it have been?
It feels like it's meant to be a monumental moment.
How amazing would it have been if it came out that way and then grew and was like a big dude in full costume, prosthetic makeup? Because the design is fucking amazing. It's badass. Yeah. But you see it just like scurrying around the theater later on, with the dirt bike samurai swords scene. And it's just like, you could just see the puppet hopping up and down on someone's arm. It's just like, it is comical. I always laugh at it.
It really is.
Dude, that's another thing. You mentioned samurai sword and motorcycle all within a movie theater. And again, I'm going to bring it up again. A motherfucking helicopter. Like, dude, maybe Argento and Bava were in a fucking hotel room with a can of Coca-Cola filled with cocaine, because this movie is just fucking insane, and it's literally a love letter to my heart. It's like, when you think it can't get any more wacky, it gets crazier. It's like, you know what? There's a motherfucking samurai sword, and now we're going to get on a motorcycle inside of a movie theater, and we're going to be going full speed up the stairs in this movie theater with a samurai sword just
full ash
slicing. Dude, unbelievable. God damn, I love this movie.
This third act is fucking insane for all of those elements that you just mentioned. And you're like, what else? What else could possibly happen? And it's full on kitchen sink. And it's... The thing is, every time I watch it, there's something else to see.
I actually love those elements of an action movie being put in there. We know that Bava did previous to this Blast Fighter, so he had his hand in some action stuff. Yeah, and I could see them, like you said, Jeremy. Honestly, I do believe this. They were probably in a fucking hotel room with a Coke can filled with Coke, and they were like, "What haven't we seen yet?" In action movies, we're so fucking huge.
Oh, bring a ninja sword out.
The Italians he's slicing. Fucking awesome action movies. So like, just what would happen if we mix those two things together? Now, I wouldn't dare say they're married perfectly together, because a lot of those elements come out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? But you're already in it so deep that you're just like, I'm along for the ride.
I'm
fucking
with it 100%.
Go for it. Helicopter crashing through the roof? Yes. Dude on a fucking motorcycle with a samurai sword, bring that shit the fuck on, because when have you ever seen that in a movie before? Now, I will say this.
Yes.
I do believe that scene in some way is influenced by Dawn of the Dead, when the bikers are going through the mall and they're like, cutting up zombies and cutting heads off and stuff. It reminded me of that. And we know Argento produced Dawn of the Dead, did his own cut of the movie. That's a whole other story. But I felt like, there's a little bit of Dawn of the Dead in there. But like, I love the tone of it, because it almost comes off as comic book like, almost cartoonish in a way, with that heavy metal, the 80s metal music behind it. It's so much fun. You're just like, man, this is like heaven, man. This is like everything you ever want in a horror movie.
So this movie cost $1.8 million to make in 1985. So what do you think with inflation, what that number would be now? 1.8,
22,300,086.
I love it. Dude, let me tell you what, they were like, how much money do we have? All right, go ahead and order the motorcycle.
But I watched this for the first time. This is the first time I've watched it in 4K UHD.
Oh, you watched the Synapse
the helicopter version. Though. No, I got it on Arrow Video.
Oh, okay. Because over there,
and the helicopter doesn't hold up in HD. It looks literally like A4 pieces of paper all stuck together. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. I will say, I had to bring this up because you said you got to see it in 4K. Over here, we got Synapse's home video release of that.
Right.
And it's fucking
I love the cover of that one. The
gorgeous.
Blue cover with all the
I got the
faces.
double feature with Demons and Demons 2. It was the dual
same.
package.
I got the Arrow one.
Yeah, so, but fuck me, man. Why can't directors today make horror movies that look like this? They don't. I was watching Cobweb last week, and we haven't reviewed that on our show or anything, but it's a great example of like everything's so dark and dingy to begin with. The wallpaper, the opening of the house, like the color timing, everything's gray and brown, and I'm like, put some fucking color into this. Like, add some personality. Like, I don't need everything to be drab and depressing from the get-go. Like, what I miss about movies from this era so much is they had some color, they had some personality, and it would be that juxtaposition between, like, the regular world the world you live in. And then when it got dark and scary, it shifted. Not everything had to be constantly just so dark, and you know what I mean? Like
I do. And the flip side of that, there has to be a meeting in the middle, because also,
very true,
especially in the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of sort of hip young teen films where they do all the red lighting or the purple or the bisexual lighting, and I think I want that, and I have the opposite response, and I kind of go, oh, it's too much. You're not doing it for a purpose. You're doing it to be cool, to make it look like those films. Whereas in these, it's very specific. There's that wonderful scene in this where it's very Suspiria, where she gets caught in the curtains trying to get back into the movie theater, and it's sort of stark red lights with little cracks of blue, and it's art. It's actually art. It's for a reason, and it's thought through. It's not just let's make it look pretty.
Well, yeah, and to your point, I think the purpose of what I was saying was find someone that knows what they're doing in order to have them do that. I myself have said, I mean, every fucking Twitch streamer in the world is trying to use those color combinations for their so I digress, but I'm saying in terms of like finding the right location, the right mood lighting, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. I just miss when movies had a larger color palette and more personality, I guess.
I'd agree. I also think like you can't talk about this movie without talking about the music and the soundtrack. And I mean, like you said, Justin, in the IMDb synopsis, it's like demons being slaved to a heavy metal soundtrack. And like just looking at the track listing, like you got Billy Idol's White Wedding, Except, Fast as a Shark.
Dude, Save Our Souls, Motley Crue. Holy fuck. It's one of their best songs ever, and that's the first song that really kicks in, and when that song kicks in, you're in for the ride, man.
Saxon's even on there with Everybody Up. Like, it's just pretty stellar, and again, you just don't get that nowadays.
Again, that $1.8 million they spent on budget, they were like, we want really famous American music artist on this soundtrack, and
also
it's great.
Also the score itself, which is synth with heavy metal peppered throughout it from Claudio from Goblin. I mean, it's just
demons.
Yeah, but Claudio, the first one though, on the tube, it is an absolute rip-off, apart from two notes of Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg. You know, dun 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 dun. But
it definitely is. It's in there. It's in there.
It's like that's. I see what you did there, but I mean it works. But yeah,
but the rest
right,
of it though, the rest of it
is
though,
fucking insane when it kicks off as well, because once after Goretta has turned, and then it's just track after track after track, and then by the end it's a fucking concert. And I mean, I've seen concerts that look exactly like the final act in this as well. I've been to those.
So can I ask a question real quick?
Hell no, bitch.
Please.
All right, so never mind. I'll just get out of here. So reading some reviews that were written when it came out, one critic says that both Demons and its sequel were, quote, chaotic, inconsistent, blithely indifferent to storytelling, and as prone to cack-handed unintentional comedy as gross-out horror. These are guilty pleasures, but their demented glee makes them aptly ideal party horror movies. Do you all agree?
Party horror?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree, but I don't hear the negative. I'm like,
yeah,
tick,
exactly.
Tick. These are great.
Yeah, I was going to say, this
aspects.
Sounds exactly like what I want from this movie.
I mean, I think that they are great aspects, but I don't think it's written to be a great aspect.
No, that to me is a good review, but I think it's meant to be bad. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because what we were saying is everything we love about it is everything other people that don't appreciate this sort of stuff would hate, because it doesn't have the plot, and it is just set piece after set piece, and then there's someone on a motorcycle with a samurai sword, and if you don't question it, it's fucking ace.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is going into Italian horror movies and analyzing the story and the fluidity of sequels to some of these movies, it's like, okay, well, clearly you're going into these things for the wrong reasons. Like, I want my horror films, specifically Italian horror films, to be batshit crazy, colorful, amazing practical effects, disgusting sound design. Like, dude,
Yeah.
Fulci, Bava, Argento, some of the most disgusting, dude. Italian horror is the only horror that I've ever watched that I have fucking gagged while
What was-
watching it because of the sound design, man.
Right. It's an
So,
assault.
dude, it's just disgusting, and I feel like it's pure artistry to put together these kind of stories and these visuals on screen and do it effectively, and like I said, do it in camera. So whoever is saying these things, meaning it in a negative way, I think that you're just expecting the wrong things out of these kind of movies.
I mean, in the history of Italian horror movies, there were previous to this art house films that had a little bit more
Real
plot,
world.
more character
Yeah.
in terms of script and stuff. But when it got to when Argento really took off and he favored visual and style over substance, which we know there's no making any mistake here. That's what these are. It's a flavor that either
Completely.
you enjoy or you don't.
Look at Phenomena. What the
Yeah.
fuck is
So,
that
I
movie
mean,
about?
oh my
I've
God.
seen it several times. I don't know what it's about. But it's fucking insane, and I love it.
And it's
Yeah.
like they make a big deal about the bugs, and then they kind of forget that she can do that. And you're like, wait, I thought
Yeah.
that was going to be a big plot
Yeah.
point. No. It's so good. I quite enjoy the little family when they do get out, that they jump in their Jeep. And these people act like it's been years. They have been fighting off these fucking things for years. Like,
It does,
it's post-apocalyptic. Get in. It's Mad Max. They're like, we know how to kill them. You know, you got to shoot them in the head or whatever it is. And they're
The
stocked
little
up.
kid knows how to shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
He's-
What if it has been years, but the
Oh,
concept of time inside the metropole
I love that.
is so
I
skewed
love that.
that by the time that they get out, they've been in there for years and don't even realize it. Again,
And
that
everything's
goes
on
back
fire.
to that goes back to the metropole is alive and it's its own entity in that coincides with the movie. I don't know. I kind of love these things, and that's
I
why
love that
I
idea.
love this. Yeah, I love this genre of movie because like it doesn't spell everything out for you, so you kind of color in, the rest with what you think it could be, and sometimes I think you get something very creative that could not even be what the filmmakers were necessarily going for, but because they leave it open like that, they leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah, completely. Have you guys seen Demons 2?
Mm-mm.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yes.
Yes.
It's
See-
exactly what Evil Dead Rise should
Oh my
have
god!
been.
I said this on my review. That's exactly what I said. That's
Yeah,
what I
same
was
thing
like,
he
oh my
said
god,
too.
it's with this is perfect. They can do an updated Demons 2, and boy was I disappointed.
Same.
Demons
Yep.
2 is just as good because it's more of the same. It's exactly what we want, but in a high rise with TVs.
And Tony the Pimp is back.
Yes,
Except
and
for he's
the
playing a
effects
different-
are stepped up.
different
A different person though. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get Asia Argento in one of her first film roles in
Right.
Demons 2. I had Argento when I met him. I had Asia signed the Demon's Mask before I had Dario because I'm like, you know what? What am I gonna put her on? I fucking love demons. I'm gonna put her on this Demon's Mask. So then by the time that I brought it to Dario, like he spoke very little English, but when he saw his daughter's signature on the mask, he went, "Oh, Asia!" Like completely lit up. I was like, "Yes, I met your daughter.
That's
She was
cute.
completely lovely."
Oh, I love that. That's fucking
Yeah.
cute. It's I think
wear
they're
this to
a
bed.
brilliant double bill,
Oh,
and I think the effects in the second one even possibly better because they kind of step it up. I mean, there's that incredible bit where he's coming out of the TV.
oh, dude, that's so iconic. And then you get like that demon baby monster thing in
Yeah.
Demons 2.
Yeah.
Oh man, so much good stuff. I would say the sequel is not as good as the original, but still just as enjoyable for its own
Yeah.
reasons.
I completely agree.
That's very fair.
Oh, I think this is I love it or hate it, and it's for all the reasons you were just saying yourself, Justin. That you either it's something you subscribe to or it isn't.
Yeah, and this is the one that I think Bava's known the most for, and rightly so. I mean, this one, it stands out above the rest. I mean, when you hold it up now against anything that came out of the U.S. in the 80s, I mean, it's a champ. Like, it would reign supreme. It's just nothing else really like it. It has influences from so many other movies leading up to it, Italian and American, but I mean, when you watch this thing, it's unbridled, just batshit crazy. You just, I miss, that's what a few minutes ago, I just miss movies being made like this. And I would dare say, if they tried to make a Demons 3 today, Jeremy, it wouldn't be what you want.
No,
Miss Mr. Keep CGI out of horror films. It would not be. They would not. They would not. They would do some practical. They would have to use some CG. I think we're just blessed to have been, to now be alive and have this movie to witness, to watch, and in my case, to screen for audiences, because every time we do, it goes bonkers.
Any final thoughts, Be Ratty?
No, I mean, it's, not typically the type of horror movie I gravitate to, but it's always a fun watch, and it's something that it's one of those movies that every time I do watch it, I'm like, man, I should watch more of this, and I haven't found anything else like it. And last time we were on, we talked about Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it's much the same feeling for me, where it's just these vibrant colors, great soundtrack, just over the top plot, and for this one, lack of a plot, but it's just a fun time. And that's really what you want out of it. And I really want to see more horror movies feel that way.
Yeah. And what about you, Jeremy? Why is this one of your favorite films of all time?
It's because of the Coke nipple.
It is. We know now.
There's just something about a razor blade going over a titty nipple that I tell you what, I just plumb like it. I'm like, you know what? If you can put that in one out of every 7 movies, I'd be there opening day box office every single time. I'd get me a damn near season pass at the movie theater, and I'd set me up. They'd have a reserved seat for me if they had their titty nipple razor blade scenes in all these movies. No.
See, Jeremy said he doesn't live near cows. He just proved to all of us he lives near cows.
All right, y'all got me. I'm surrounded by cows. If it wasn't for cows, I wouldn't have nothing to fuck.
Oh my God.
Where are you going here?
We've got to that point.
Oh my God. So the thing that I love among everything about this movie is, again, it's taking its time to introduce the characters. It's the unbelievable special effects, the practical effects that are done here with, precision. It's the way that Bava directed this, from his camera angles to his tracking shots to how it's lit to the soundtrack to the setting. I mean, the Metropole is beautiful. From the interior of the actual theater that they're sitting in to the lobby with the stairs, with the motorcycle, the mask, the samurai sword, everything. It's the set pieces. It's absolutely insane. I have never seen another movie like this, and I want to see more movies like this. So I implore whatever filmmakers that are out there, go make a crazy practical effects movie with these amazing set pieces and practical effects, and I'll be there. But it truly is one of a kind. And I love it. And when you graciously invited us to come on your show, and it was decided we were doing Demons, I'm like, not that I needed another reason to rewatch this movie, but I was like, fuck yes. And then every single time I watch it, I'm just reminded of why I love it so much. It's just something that is just such a joy to watch from beginning till end.
Yeah, I completely agree. Every single time I watch it, and I almost forget how much I enjoy it and I love it until I watch it again. And then I go, fuck, I keep forgetting how insanely good this film is for me, because I'm just that way inclined, Thank you so much. You're the perfect guests for this. Tell me what's going on with Brain Stew. Anything coming up, Justin?
We're just doing the same shit we've been doing, pumping out content constantly, reviews of new and old movies. We've kind of branched out since we were on your show last year. We're kind of being able to do more genres. We're not just sticking to horror. We are primarily horror, but we're just whatever we feel like doing. We realized we're just going to do it, and our audience has been really enjoying it. But I'm sure leading up to the horror spooky season over here, we're going to be bringing out some Halloween treats and goodies for everyone listening. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm intrigued to know your opinion on the news that dropped today about Keanu Reeves being the new Batman.
No, it's not true.
Jeremy.
To see your reaction.
Dude, I was like, what?
Dude, well, here's the thing. It's funny because you hit the nail on the head, Stevie, because Jeremy and I are seeing Keanu's band in December, and we were talking about earlier how we're gonna, possibly attempt to meet.
We're gonna meet him.
Meet Neo himself.
You'll do it.
We're gonna make it happen.
So it's interesting when you said that, I was thinking, literally racking my brain. I'm like, I've been on Twitter all day. I've been paying attention to the news all day.
Dude, you just fucked me up.
It?
I was like,
no.
You just fucked me up. I was like, okay, weird, James Gunn. You're going for some weird, like a weird Batman pick. Okay.
You know what? That's not the first time I've heard someone mention Keanu as Batman and is like an older Batman. I'm like, listen, at this point, we have so many fucking Batman.
Yeah,
whatever.
Fair.
Like,
bring
Everyone
it on.
Gets to go. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Let him do it. Put the fucking cowl on him and a cape, and there you go.
Adam Sandler, it's your turn to play Batman, buddy. He's like,
my
let me
God.
tell you something. He's like, Commissioner Gordon, I swear to God. The Joker again. I swear to God.
Fucking Kevin James comes out of nowhere as the Penguin.
Hey, that's decent casting. After Becky, that's decent casting. I'm not even gonna lie there.
Adam Sandler's gonna be my pick for Batman from here on, dude. Holy
Me
shit.
too. That's all I can see now. It's perfect.
The Riddler's at it again.
On that note, I can't wait for that to manifest. Thank you so much once again. You guys fucking rock. And I'm so glad I got you on for this episode.
Thanks again for having us on. It was an honor.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
Take care. Yes, there we go. Thank you once again, Epic Film Guys. You absolutely rock. And just a reminder to everyone, go and check out Brain Stew if you enjoyed hearing them. See you next time, guys. And speaking of next time, next week we will be covering the 1984 slasher The Initiation, which is currently streaming on Shudder, so go and check it out, and I will see you next Monday. Till then, rotters, toodles!